I think I think I skipped the whole intro that time. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I am your host, Mike Miller, and I'm not a pastor, priest, rabbi, well-educated man. Not a college graduate, even. I did go to college. I'm a college dropout, so to speak. I'm just a guy on the internet here to build your faith somehow or another. Yeah, I call this construction zone. I was trying to think of this episode, construction zone. And yes, we will have to get back to actually doing Bible study. I haven't chosen the book yet. I haven't put much thought in. I've been so busy. Guys. My water heater broke on, what day was that? Friday? I think it was Friday. And oh, thank you, Tina, for sharing the link. So that was like this huge call. Oh, then in the process of that, I learned that my friend had died because I kept texting him stuff about water heater. I'm like, hey, my water heater broke. And then I sent him the picture from Home Depot of the water heater I was looking at, and then no answer. And then his former employee called me, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta let you know, Steve passed away a couple months ago." And I'm like, Steve's my neighbor too. He lives like 8 houses down, so we're like friends. I used to just hang out with him when I'd go on walks, and he'd be outside. We'd just shoot. I'd be like, "I'm going for a walk." 2 hours later. Sometimes I wouldn't even manage to go on my walk. I'd just walk down to his house, and he'd be outside, and we'd just talk. And then I'd be like, "Oh, it's getting late. I just better go back home." But yeah, that was bad. And then his dude. Okay, then I called for troubleshooting with the water heater company, the number that's on the side of the water heater. And I tell them everything that's happening. They're asking me questions. And they're like, okay, well, sounds like that part's broken. Sounds like that part's broken. Sounds like that part's broken. So altogether, the parts for all those is going to be about $347 just for the parts. I don't know how to install this stuff. So she's just assuming I'm going to buy a new water heater. And I'm like, great. Because nothing's turning on, right? It's like leaking from the top. Nothing's turning on. It's kaput, it seems like. So then I call the new plumber, Steve's former employee, back. And yeah, I don't even know how he died, Tina. It's just, I was sad. I was like kind of gut punched because I don't have a lot of friends in my neighborhood. I got Walt across the street, and then I hardly ever talk to my neighbor Jaime. But yeah, Steve was like, I knew him the best out of everybody in my neighborhood. Anyways, the at least with a new water heater, there would be a warranty and no more headaches. Well, it turns out those warranties, they make it a hassle for you to. It's just like every warranty, right? Oh yeah, no, we'll give you a warranty, and then they make it a hassle for you to get a new water heater. But I was talking to my new dude, and okay, so actually, first, the next day, I had everything open. It's in the garage, and like I had the garage door open next to it, so apparently everything dried out. I went back outside, actually, just to find the model number, serial number, and all that stuff, so I could see how much replacing my exact water heater would be. Which, by the way, the new plumber guy, $2,200. He wanted $2,200 all in on this thing, and I'm at Home Depot. I'm like, these things are only $900. I could get a cheaper one for like $600. I don't have 7 people in this house anymore. I probably don't need that big of a water heater. But I I go back out to check the serial number. I'm like, why don't I try the pilot light again? So I do pilot light, dick, 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 tick. I'm like, what? So now I'm trying to think, what's the problem here? There was water underneath in the, because she had me search around like in the underneath the thermostat if there was any water down there, and there was water on the bottom. The insulation on the bottom was damp. So I called the plumber and I'm like, hey, if the insulation in the bottom is damp, will it shut down all the electrical on a water heater? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, snap. I go to the top of the water heater and I see where the leak is coming from. The copper pipes have corroded and there's just a slow leak coming from there, and it's dripping down the side of the water heater into the ventilation to the bottom of the thing, making it damp. Problem discovered. Solution to problem. It's all this old copper valve pipe, weld pipe thing. I'm looking at that and I'm like, I could do that. I have a little propane torch. I have tools. I could do that, but I should probably leave it to a professional. Right? My dad would be embarrassed that I said that. So I take pictures of the pipes. I can show you the pictures. And I go, all right. He said, and I sent it to him. He's like, well, you need to at least, replace that pipe. It's $20. And I'm like, well, that does have a weld on it. I don't want to screw up this thing. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm all right. How much would it be for that, for you to come out and do it? He says $200. I'm like, broski, bro. And then I kind of sent him another picture where there's actually erosion on the valve as well, on the shutoff valve, which is just another. It's literally just one more weld. And he says, "Oh, you're gonna need to replace that too. $300 plus part." I'm like, "You're gonna charge me $100 for one more weld?" So I'm calculating. It's $100 for him to come out. It's $100 for a weld. It's $100 for another weld plus parts. I wiggle him down. I'm like, would you do 300 all in? He's like, yeah. And then like, okay. I'm like, and I was just thinking about it. And I'm like, my dad would be so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because he did everything himself, right? My dad was like, and I'm thinking, this ain't freaking rocket science. So I go to Home Depot with my pictures, looking for the stuff I need to replace this all myself. You know what they have now? Building Faith, where are the IKEA instruction papers? This will all somehow work out. You know what they have now? And I was just astonished. They got plug and play plumbing. Literally push on plumbing. I'm like, I'm looking at this thing. This can't be right. And then this plumber dude comes up to me at the thing, and I'm like, do I just take this and put it on the pipe and that's it? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you have to be freaking kidding me. You don't have to weld anything. You don't have to glue anything. You don't have to do nothing. You just take it and you as long as the copper pipe is the right size, you sand it down, you make it nice and smooth and clear, and you just take the new and you push it on it and it's done. I'm like, you're kidding me. It works. Yes, Amy, it absolutely works. The problem I had was the part where I had to still screw it in. So I removed like all these pipes. I just cut it off, cut the valve off, chucked them all out. I removed and I put it just up. This pipe had a valve on the end of it. The valve had the plug and play. So I just plugged it in and I did for the other one. And here was the problem. I tried to put it in. I tightened it up. Actually, the hardest part and why my arm hurt so freaking bad yesterday was the corrosion on the copper, the thread, whatever. Dude, it was so hard to get that off. I had to like freaking bang it with a chisel and do all this stuff. And finally, and I was like, and I already have tennis elbow, and I just stressed it so bad. My arm was killing me all night long. But I got that off, and I plugged it back, screwed it back in. It starts leaking again. I'm like, you have to be freaking kidding me. What? It's a brand new thing. Why would this leak? So I take it off, and I feel the edge of the pipe I'm trying to screw it into. The corrosion had put a little knock, like probably a 1/16 of an inch knock in the pipe. So the rubber bushing, the rubber washer couldn't compress into that without a leak. So here I am on a ladder on the top above my thing. I couldn't find my file. My tools are so disorganized. My garage is an absolute disaster. If I had all my tools organized, this thing would have taken me a half an hour. Tops a half an hour. I thought Carnivore solved tennis elbow. Well, it solved my rotator cuff. I don't know about tennis elbow. We'll find out. Also, it took like 6 weeks on Carnivore to cure my rotator cuff. Anyways, Jeff, thank you. So I'm sitting there and I'm digging through my thing. I bought the sandpaper. They have this cool sandpaper that's like on a weave thing that you can like it'll roll around stuff. It's like designed for that. So that's what you do with to get the pipes nice and clean. But I had that, and then I went in my thing and I found some super heavy grit sandpaper for a belt sander that, first of all, I don't know where my belt sander is, but second of all, there's no way I could get it into that little area. And so I'm like, Ninja Nihonjin, are you sure you're part of Nihonjin? Bro, I'm an Einstein, all right? Einstein said a cluttered desk is the evidence of an active mind. Anyways, so I'm in there and I'm grinding and I'm grinding and I'm grinding, and with a file, this would have taken no time at all. But with the sandpaper, I was probably trying to sand that thing down for like 20 minutes or half an hour. And I kept feeling it. Oh, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. I could never quite get it perfect. No matter, it seemed like, in fact, you know what it seemed like? It seemed like it was moving. That's how I was at it. Anyways, I finally got it. Then I screw it back in. I turn the water on. It's leaking again. So I'm like, you know what? That can't be the problem. The problem is I've been too gentle with the screwing it out. So I screwed it on as tight as I could, and it stopped leaking. But I tied a thing around it just in case it does leak, so that it can wick the water away. Anyways, we got hot water again. Woo! Mike got so excited. Look at him. You can't see him. He's very excited because cold showers suck so bad. I know they're good for you, but man, they suck. And you know how much that tube was? It was like $35, something like that. I can't remember the exact number. It was like 34, 37, something like that. It was like 30 something bucks for a plug and play. And then the other tools, I bought an extra. I bought an extra vice grip so that I could, because I saw the videos and I didn't want the bottom pipe moving while I was taking off the top pipe. So I bought a new vice grip, and I bought a hacksaw, but apparently the hacksaw didn't come tightened, like the pieces on it. So I got it right as soon as I sawed through that copper pipe, the hacksaw fell apart, and I lost one of the pieces on it. So it's like it just disappeared. So it was a one-time use hacksaw. But still, all in, it was like $74 for everything I bought at Home Depot. And yes, I put plumber's tape on the end of the pipe. Yes, absolutely. So that was another expense, 99 cents for a new roll of plumber's tape, because I used up my previous roll the day before trying to minimize the leak on there so I could temporarily have hot water. You need a Dremel rotary tool. You know what I realized, Joe, after I finished all of that? I have a Dremel rotary tool. I'm like, I didn't even need the hacksaw. I had everything I needed on that Dremel. I was just too stupid to use it, apparently. Hello, Corpse Grinder. Welcome. So that was my weekend. I'm just glad. Look, man, I'm just glad we got hot water again. I took a shower. See, my hair's still wet. For some weird reason, though, around the same time, the water pressure in our other shower diminished. It's like the water pressure in my shower is fine. The water pressure out of everything else is fine. It's not the filter because I just checked that. I don't know. But that's Adventures with Mike. Oh, here's something I'm working on. So you guys know I'm on Whatnot now. Somebody bought the $750 whatever you want on 11 by 17 commission, and they wanted a Drew Struzan style Ahsoka poster. So that's what I was working on last night while I'm writhing in pain from my elbow killing me. Which kind of led me to, this has nothing to do with the Bible, does it? This kind of led me to this. I wanna learn to use my left hand, because you can. If I can draw with my feet, and I can, I'm sure I can get adequate with my left hand to do real drawing. Right? I want to be ambidextrous. Anyone can be. It's just learning the motors, because all the knowledge is up here, right? It's not in your hand. It's just the dexterity that is in your hand. That's why I can draw with my feet, because the knowledge is in here. I have minimal dexterity with my feet, so I can draw with my feet. Oddly, I did not try drawing with my left foot. And people can paint with their feet. It's just learning dexterity. Zeta says, I tried making myself ambi once. Might try it again, but I want to teach myself how to draw sculpt properly first. Joe says, 3 months ago, we got a major leak from the kitchen sink pipe, which kind of exploded and had 3 centimeter water in the bottom floor of the house. There are no walls that's separated by furniture. And this, oh, yeah. The thing about plumbing is, it ain't rocket surgery, right? Anybody with 100 IQ or better can learn how to be a plumber. It's that you don't want to do it. And generally speaking, you don't want to be under the sink. You don't want to be under the toilet. You don't want to do the poo, right? It's just you want to pay somebody some extraordinary amount of money who's willing to deal with fecal matter and all that stuff. It's like Legos. It's almost as simple as Legos. And I mean, welding stuff, it's not really welding in plumbing. It's literally you're soldering something. You're just heating up a piece of, what is it, tin and lead and aluminum or whatever it is. I don't know what solder is actually made out of. It's just, you take a torch, you heat it up, and you go blam, and it seals it with metal. It's really, really not that stuff. I just don't want to do it. I was just, this water heater thing though. It's like it's all clean water. So I'm like, why am I having someone come out here to do this for $300 when it's so simple? And then I went to Home Depot and discovered it was even simpler than I could have possibly imagined. This plug and play pipe thing it's astonishing. If any of you have a problem with your water heater and you need to replace that thing, actually, you know what might be smart? Because water heaters are supposed to only last like 8 to 12 years, which is like just crap. So I know I'm going to have to replace it pretty soon here anyways, because my water heater is like 15, 16 years old. I don't know, something like that. Maybe older. Go and check it because the leaks. It's the leaks that get you until the whole thing breaks. The interior drum, I guess, will corrode enough to like get a major break, which is what happened to my last water heater, and it just flooded my garage. But yeah, check those pipes on top and make sure they're not like super corroded, because when they start corroding, then eventually they start leaking. And it's so funny. The company was trying to get me to just buy a new water heater. The plumber, even after I showed him all that stuff, he's like, "You still need a new water heater." I'm like, "Yeah, I need a new water heater. You know what I don't need to do right now is spend $2,200 on a new water heater." It's like, water heaters would last longer if they were drained at least once a year. I wonder if there's anything you can do to minimize the corrosion. I don't know. This is not, handyman Mike. Oh, maybe we should. I tried plumbing once. I broke the valve trying to remove it. I had to call a plumber. Yeah, that is also the thing, is like, if you want to do plumbing, then you have to go buy all the tools and you have to learn all the specifics. But it's real if you have the tools and you have YouTube, you can plumb. It's a lot easier. I'll grant it is safer just to hire a professional. All right. Anyways, construction zone. So Laveau, who goes by, what's he going by here now? He changed his name on the YouTube. Anyways, he posted this dude, Justin, in the Discord, and I started watching it. And before I even started watching it, I made this comment that Justin, what did I say? Justin isn't a good faith debater. He's a narcissist who believes he's smarter than everyone. He knows the Bible better than most and uses that to deceive people like Satan did and does. And his channel is called Deconstruction Zone. So when I started watching his video that Laveau posted up, and it's about the failures of biblical prophecy, and he starts going in on how Jesus failed to fulfill the messianic prophecies. And he starts reading these different, like Ezekiel 34, 35, 36, 37, something like that. He goes by Kai. Yeah, right. I should remember that. It's my nephew's name. To wit, I will let's just pause it. This just shows how disingenuous he is and what a bad faith debater he is, because he knows perfectly well that nearly everyone in Christianity, preterists aside, you know who you are, understand that the second coming hasn't happened yet. And that's why, first of all, that's why when Jesus announced his ministry, he stopped before he finished that sentence. He didn't get to, and the terrible day of the Lord, or whatever, however that he just proclaimed the good news, blah blah blah. I should probably have this memorized if I'm going to talk about it, but I don't. I'm not Justin. Justin's got everything memorized. He's really intelligent, but he's super deceitful. And so Jesus rode a donkey. That's right, because you know what? There are two, and Jews will tell you this. There are two different comings of the Messiah as described in the Old Testament. One, he rides in meek and lowly on the colt, the foal of an ass. That one's fulfilled. Two, he comes back in power and glory with the clouds of heaven and the armies of the angels or whatever. I can't remember. Those are not the same event. And I was debating this with a Jew a long time ago. And he said, I'm like, how do you square those two different events as one event? And he says, well, when the Messiah comes, he'll be on a donkey and he'll be meek and humble. And there will be clouds of dust behind him that look like heaven. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? This is the dumbest thing I've ever read. So even Jews understand that there are two very, very different descriptions of the coming of Messiah, which obviously Justin pretends like there aren't in order to say, look, Jesus failed because he only came once. Right, that's why it's so prophetic. Justin, has the entire house of Israel been resurrected? No, you're right. That's not a failure. It's a prophecy. And he knows it, but he's still trying to use it to argue that, look at all these failed prophecies. Jesus failed in all of these prophecies. So clearly the Bible's not true and Jesus isn't the Messiah because he didn't fulfill all these prophecies. Yet. That's why the whole preterist argument is it's untenable. Right? Because if the preterist argument is accurate, then Justin is accurate. And Jesus is a failed Messiah. And your faith is, look, we have Moses and the prophets. We believe in Moses and the prophets, or we won't believe a man should rise from the dead. That's actually very good, actually. Thanks, Bob. So yeah, just listening to like a couple of minutes of him going on this, I'm like, dude, you're so disingenuous that it's like pointless to sit there and just go through the whole everything that he does. I didn't even use him as a thumbnail because I just don't want to give him attention because he's so good at deceiving people. He's a very intelligent, very deceptive fellow. I'm a partial preterist. I believe Revelation, TJ, speaks of the entire history of Earth, including things yet to come. Yeah, I don't even know I don't know which part that was autocorrect, believe it or not. Oh, revaluation. I believe revaluation. Blame it on AI, DJ. Good on you. All right, I accept that it was AI trying to ruin everything. They don't want you to know about Revelation. That's the thing. Yeah, so it's not really. Look, I only have like an hour a day to do this. I'm a very, very busy guy, so I can't sit here and people are like Lavo is always like, call into the show. I'm like, first of all, no. Because he'll probably try to get me on something because he knows the Bible so well. Like he knows, well, what about in Psalms 23? And I'll be like, and the way I do things is like I'd have to stop, I have to look it up, I have to read it, I have to understand the context, and then. But when he's just throwing out stuff like this, it's like, bro, you are so disingenuous, and you know it. He knows it. He is educated in the subject matter. He will give you a logical reason. Okay, he literally, but that's what I'm saying, Corpse Counter. He knows his argument falls apart for 99% of Christians out there or more who believe in the second coming. So it's a total non-starter argument, but he starts his whole argument with it. That is by definition disingenuous. that makes him a non-good faith debater, and that's not the kind of people I want to like. When Lou comes on here, he comes on here and he debates. Lou is a good faith debater, I believe. He will come on here and he's not going to sit there and try to lie or deceive someone to make a point. I think he believes everything he says, right? So bad faith debaters are just bad people on any side. If you're lying for a conservative argument or a Christian argument, well, first of all, if you're a Christian, you should never lie for a Christian argument. That's sort of a contradiction in terms. But an atheist, I mean, he's clearly lying and being disingenuous. That's just one of his arguments. He will give you a reason for each prophecy or perceived prophecy. It doesn't matter because he knows that a Christian believes in the second coming. So he knows that those prophecies haven't come to be yet, but he's claiming they are failed. They didn't happen. They're wrong. The Bible's full of wrong prophecy. It's not wrong when you know it's prophetic still. I agree. Lou seems pretty consistent in his positions. Yeah. The compression fittings have to be pushed all the way down. You feel them ever so slightly click. Wow, you're way back, Chuck. you gotta play that a little faster, buddy. If you do a debate, you need to pick a topic that you end up not jumping all over the place. It's not fair to the defender. Yeah, he does that too. I've watched several of Justin's videos. He does that stuff all the time. It's like if he feels like he's losing a centimeter of ground in an argument, he will change the topic. When did Jesus say he was coming back? Quickly. That is not a determinate amount of time. Behold, I come quickly. What is a day to... Would you say a day is quickly to you? How about 2 days? How about 3 days? Would 3 days be quickly? Right? A day to the Lord is as 1,000 years. So it's a very subjective and indeterminate amount of time. He didn't say, I'll be back on the 24th of May, blah, blah, blah. However, he did do the mathematical equation that Israel would become a nation again, May 14, 1948. That was an exact date, an exact number of days from point A to point B in history. And you could do it on I've done that on the, there's a world calendar thing on the internet where you can adjust, or you could do like the Jewish calendar, the Gregorian calendar, the Julian calendar. You can have a starting date and an end date according to like the Jewish year is 360 days, right? And so you could do a certain number of days according to the biblical prophecy, because the prophecy is a 360 day a year prophecy. And so you do the math. It is a math problem. And we obviously changed the calendar to 365 days, 365.25 days. But all of the ancient calendars are 360 day calendars. So, oh, this is an interesting question. Out of space-time, what is time? Is there a sun in heaven that moves slowly? It's a great question, isn't it? I don't think there is time outside of space-time, and that's why its eternity is incomprehensible to us, and why literally from God's perspective, every moment is the same quote unquote time, because he looks down on time externally, not time so quickly will never be. Okay. Rephrase. A day to the Lord. What is God using for a clock? A day to the Lord is as 1,000 years, because there's no difference to him, because he's outside of time. I feel like, are you trying to convince me to be a preterist? Are you trying to convince me that there's no second coming? Because you're not gonna. Sorry. So is that are you agreeing with this position? This you're the preterist position. There's Jesus. If Jesus didn't fulfill every prophecy, I mean, look, man. Even all of his followers at the time thought he was going to fulfill those prophecies. That's why guys like Ben Shapiro, Jews, will say Jesus is a failed Messiah because he didn't fulfill those prophecies. But Jesus is very clearly taught that that was not his mission in his first coming. And he is coming back just like in like the angel when he ascended, and the angel said, why, don't worry about it. He's coming back the way he left. In other words, he ascended into heaven. He's coming back the way he left. The only literal reading of that is he's coming back from heaven. He's coming back. That was his point. He's coming back. You can't. That's why I don't understand the preterist position. There's an anode in water heaters that Chuck is way behind in this chat. That needs to be replaced periodically. It's a sacrificial part that keeps the interior of the water heater from corroding. It might not be user service on cheap ones. I'm trying to find logic in these claims. Jesus needed his body for heaven. Well, Jesus, what's that even a question? How's that even a question? Jesus became man in time. He entered into time and became born of a virgin. He became human, remained godhood, retained godhood. So he's man and he's God, but he is forever God and man. The needed part, I don't understand the meaning of your question. It's just what was. What is. If quickly means without haste, then he will come immediately when the time is right. Heaven's clock seems to be a bit more option lock than time lock. But do not forget this one thing, dear friends. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. None of that makes sense. What do you mean? That's the incarnation. The Son of God came from heaven as a spirit, entered into the body, or created the body. I don't know. How do you incarnated in the body of in Mary's womb? I mean, it's not circular. It's an explanation of what happened. It's a storyline. It's a through line. I'm not giving you a reason why something this. You're asking why. I don't understand the whys. I'll be clear. I don't understand eternity. I'm incapable. No one is capable. I can apprehend eternity. I can get it. I can get the scope of it is so far beyond comprehension that it's really kind of a fool's errand to try to be like, well, why? It's like, you can't even comprehend what it's like to be outside of time. God impregnated a virgin, a full man and a full God was here on earth, but still in heaven. No, Jesus was not in heaven while he was indwelled in man. Now he has returned to heaven. All right. God the Father and God the Holy Spirit were in heaven. God the Son indwelt the virgin birth and was a man on earth, separate. God is one perfect being, but somehow can have perfect parts. Well, it's just like me saying you can't comprehend eternity, right? You cannot comprehend eternity. So also you cannot comprehend the nature of God. It's impossible for you to comprehend it. The best we can do is apprehend what is taught, apprehend that the nature of God is one, as described in the Bible, but the persons of God, as described in the Bible, are three. Could it be more than three? The Bible never indicates more than three, but that's not to say it, not that I know of. There's no, because like the word Trinity isn't in the Bible. But what is taught in the Bible, Old and New Testament, is that there is God the Father, there is God the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and there is God the Son. He shall be unto me a son. And the Son is the Messiah, right? But three are one in nature or essence. I know it's hard to, I know it's, it's impossible to comprehend. It is impossible to comprehend, but you do have brain enough to apprehend it. So the Trinity wasn't in heaven while Jesus was on earth. The Father and Spirit were in heaven. Well, and here's another thing. I don't even know what heaven is, and neither do you. Is heaven a dimension within time space or beyond time space? Or when he's saying heaven, is he talking about eternity outside of time? Right? So these are all questions we don't have answers for because apparently they're unnecessary for us to need. This is a need to know thing. It's a bunch of claims from ignorance. I'm not making a claim from ignorance. Oh, you mean like where the universe came from? It's impossible to know. Then why believe these shepherds from thousands of years ago? I didn't say it's impossible to know. Did I say it's impossible to know? I said it's impossible to comprehend. Comprehend means to have an absolute understanding of. You can apprehend a thing without comprehending a thing, right? You apprehend gravity. You do not comprehend gravity. No one does. No one knows what gravity is. We have theories, but no real scientist is going to tell you that they have an absolute comprehension of what gravity is. Why believe in gravity? We apprehend it very well. It's just apprehending gravity. I still don't comprehend it, and neither do you, and don't pretend like you do. We don't know, can't know, so God did it. Okay, God did this too. God did gravity, right? No, see, we can test gravity. We can test God. We can't tempt God, but we can test him. Just a couple shepherds, that's what you think thousands of years of belief is based on. You don't consider that an oversimplification, corpse? That's an embarrassing oversimplification. But it's funny. It is funny. Please tell me how to test God. All right. Seek him with truth and honesty. Like if you really actually want to know if God is real, then ask him to prove himself to you. Ask him to reveal himself to you. If you're saying it is like you don't actually want to know and you don't want to actually believe and you don't actually care, you just want to be a flippant little prick, then no, obviously there's no reason to respond to you. But if you are earnest and you actually want to know if God is true, You just ask him. That is a test. That is a test. It doesn't work. It worked for me. It worked for me. But I was earnest. I prayed in earnest. And if you're not willing to pray in earnest, you know what that means? You're scared to. Can I ask for the lottery numbers? I mean, you can ask, but good luck. Yep, and that's okay. The best part of knowing God is having him as a friend. The debate and all is interesting, but nothing compared to his presence with you, I think. But God is love and wants relationship, but he remains hidden. Sounds more like a devil than a God. He doesn't remain hidden. He literally says, if you seek, ye shall find. If you earnestly, honestly want a relationship with God, he's there for you to find. If you don't, then you don't. And you won't. That's not hiding. That's just waiting for you to want to know him. Temptation, which the old serpent did use in assaulting Eve and Adam by Eve, which was a vain affectation of creature knowledge and of self-invented wisdom. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. What is love? What book should we start? I know someone said Romans. I just went through Romans with the kids. Actually, we're still going through it. I don't know if I want to do it again immediately. I feel like we just went through Romans on here. What's a good short book? I don't want to get into the long books because, man, long books take a long time to get through. How about James? How about James? All right. Caleb called it. Let's do James chapter 1. And we're going to do it through Grok. Yes, sir. Alrighty, datey. Why isn't it doing it? Try again. Try. Oh, there we go. Baby, don't hurt me.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
No. Whoa, whoa. Ah, zoomed in too far. All right. Okay. What did the Romans ever do for us? Maybe I'll show my got mixing it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can sing sometimes. Not right now. Not right now. All right. James 1, Grok version, translated with deepest meaning. James, a servant. By the way, Jesus' brother. What would it take? What would it take for you to believe and go to your death believing that your brother was God? Just think about that for a bit. That would take some pretty extraordinary evidence for me to think that either of my brothers was God. We just established that time does not exist, so it's just Bible. Time does exist. We didn't brother or brother in faith. No, it was his brother. He was his brother, James, the brother of Jesus. James was his actual brother. Somehow I missed that. Yeah. His actual brother. Of course, if you're a Catholic, you don't believe he's his actual brother, because Catholics believe that Jesus became a perpetual virgin, which contradicts scripture when it says that Josh didn't know Joseph didn't know Mary until, it uses the word until she gave birth. Well, is this another atheist channel that I can subscribe to? Master Bleck, it is indeed not an atheist channel. But feel free to challenge. But maybe not during the Bible study part. We usually do that before. All right. No, this is construction zone, sir, not deconstruction zone. That is a deceptive and disingenuous site. I remember it saying he had siblings, just don't remember it saying James was one. Yeah, James, Judas. Yeah, he had a brother named Judas. The irony. Who are those other brothers? Let me look it up real quick. Who were Jesus' brothers? James, Judas, Joseph, I think. Simon. Yeah. James, Joseph, or Joseph. So Joe Jr. Simon and Jude, and unnamed sisters. Why didn't they name his sisters? So you guys are religious, or in the parochial sense, we're religious. We like to say that we have a relationship with Jesus Christ, our Lord and God. Looks like the majority think it's a cousin or stepbrother. The majority of what? Catholics? Yeah, that's a very Catholic, and I think maybe even Orthodox believers. But the Bible just says very clearly that Joseph waited until Jesus was born to have relationships. He did not know her. Know is the biblical terminology for right? And he didn't know her until Jesus was born. Until, meaning there's a point in time where he did know her. It didn't say he never knew her or he wouldn't know her. It says he didn't know her until Jesus was born. That's pretty clear-cut argument. So the whole virgin birth thing, I think, didn't come up until like 300, something like that. It was something. It was when Constantinople was the head of the church, and I'm trying to remember the exact thing. It was one of the sisters of the emperor. Was it a sister of an emperor or the bride of an emperor, something like that? Someone was trying to elevate status, and they came up with the virgin birth dogma, and it stuck since pretty early in the church, but prior to the actual split, I think. So I think that's why both Orthodox and Catholics maintain the virgin birth. But read the Bible. It's explicit in there that he didn't know her until. All right. So James, a servant bound to God and the Lord Jesus Christ, greets the 12 tribes scattered abroad. My brothers In the dispersion, may joy be yours in the embrace of his call. Whose call? His brothers. Count every trial a fountain of joy, my brothers. Reckon each storm that tests your soul as pure gladness, its winds forging your faith. Knowing this, the proving of your trust hammers endurance, a refining fire that shapes your steadfastness to stand unyielding through the gale. Let endurance weave its full work, unbroken, complete, until you emerge mature, whole, lacking nothing, your character honed by God's patient craft. If wisdom... Why am I having such a hard time speaking English today? Yeah. I'm sure his sisters had names. I wouldn't be surprised if at least a third of them were also Mary. Mary was a super... I know, there's so many Marys in the Bible. That's what's his face? Oh gosh, I can't remember his name right now. That young guy who was on Joe Rogan. He makes this very, very good point about how knowing like dating writings by like what the popularity of names in certain places is. So like here they would be like, you know, in that time in Judea, in Israel, like James was a popular name, right? Wes Huff. Yes, thank you, Wesley Huff. And so you have James, and they didn't have like last names unless, you know, I guess, which is how we kind of do it today, but they would have qualifiers like James, the brother of Jesus, James, the son of Zebedee, you know. I think they did that with Judas also. And I think in one point, when they talk about the other Judas, don't they call him like not the other Judas or whatever, like something like that? Oh, the virgin birth don't count. It came along in 300. So when did Protestants come along? Who compiled the Bible? Who ripped out all the Catholic books to support new heresy? The virgin birth, no, it's always been a virgin birth. It's the perpetual virginity that didn't come along until I think it was 200 or 300. It was when it was in Constantinople. So it was when the head of Rome or the capital of the Roman Empire moved to Constantinople. I remember that part. I'll have to go back and research it again. It's been a long time. The Protestants came along in the 1500s, 1600s. No, I think it was like the 1500s. Who compiled the Bible? I believe what council was that? Was that Nicaea? Who ripped out all the Catholic books to support the new heresy? Actually, it was actually the Council of Dort in 1500, where the Catholic Bible, the Apocrypha, was canonized into the Catholic Bible. Though the Apocryphal books were not canon prior to the Council of Dort. Dark sayings. So you look that up. I think that was 1511, if I remember correctly. Yes, they do, Mike. I don't remember what you're talking about. It was 553 AD. So the church was wrong for 1500 years until Luther comes along? No, it wasn't wrong. It was corrupt at the time of Luther. Are you saying that selling sin and selling indulgences is right? Because that was a lot to do with the corruption that Luther was talking about. Not saying they're the same things. Oh, I thought James and Jacob both stem from the same ancient Hebrew name. James and Jacob. Do they? No. I don't know. You could look it up. You might be right. I only just found out a week ago that Immaculate Conception refers to Mary's conception, not Jesus. Oh, does it? What? Wait, does the Catholic Church teach that Jesus was a virgin birth too? Are you can't be serious. Yeah. They mentioned that in John. Judas, not Iscariot. I love that bit. That's the qualifier for the Judas. Not. Nicaea was the Creed Council. Okay. I wonder, when did the Jews decide to change the Bible and remove almost all of the texts of their other gods? They didn't. They didn't. The Jews were fastidious about making sure that their scriptures were translated or copied exactly. There was a whole process, dude. Oh my gosh, we're over an hour. Why can't you guys who want to argue this stuff come in at the beginning of the show when I have time, not at the end of the show when I'm trying to read through the Bible? We're here at noon, at least 4 out of 5 days of the week. So yeah, Jesus was the virgin birth. If you're trying to say Mary was a virgin birth, what? That is so non-biblical. That is so, oh man. This is how they planned it. On my mother's side are Catholic. Yeah, that's wacky. That's just some wacky cat. That's like selling indulgences. It's something they made up for some reason. I can't. There was a reason. There was a particular reason why they came up with the perpetual virginity and probably the Immaculate Conception at the same time. Master Black, I know, but dude, this is not my job. I don't make money doing cross examinations. This is something I do for a little fellowship and for a little outreach. But literally, I am a super busy guy. I can't. All right. If wisdom eludes you, ask of God, who gives generously. So this goes back to what I was saying before. If ye ask, ye shall find. God's not hiding from anyone. Anyone who is honestly, earnestly seeking God will find him. If wisdom eludes you, ask of God, who gives generously, never casting blame, and it will be poured into you, a stream of light from his boundless heart. But ask in faith, unwavering. Doubt not, like a wave tossed by the sea, driven and scattered by every wind's whim. For the doubter must not suppose he will receive. His heart divided, he grasps at shadows from the Lord's open hand. A double-souled man, unsteady in every path, his steps falter, torn between trust and turmoil. Let the lowly brother glory in his lifting, raised high by God's grace, his humble state a crown of eternal worth. And let the rich glory in his humbling, for like grass's flower, he fades, his wealth a fleeting bloom beneath the sun's relentless gaze. Yeah. I've been through several seasons of my life where it's like you think money's just going to keep pouring in from whatever the source is, and you never have to worry about it again. That doesn't last unless you like become a billionaire or something. I don't know. But even in that case, money is much easier to lose than it is to gain. So yeah, it is fleeting. So always rely on God. Never rely on money. The sun rises, its heat scorching, the grass withers, its flower fails, its beauty lost in the blaze. So the rich man fades, his ways dissolving in the midst of his pursuits. Blessed is the one who endures trial, tested and true. He will receive the crown of life, promised by the Lord to those who love him with unwavering heart. Let none, when tempted, say, God tempts me. For God, untouchable by evil, tempts no one. His nature a light no shadow dims. Each is tempted by his own desire, lured and ensnared, dragged from the path by the heart's restless craving. Desire, when it is conceived, births sin, and sin, full grown, spawns death, a cycle of ruin woven by the flesh's deceit. Do not be swayed, my beloved brothers. Let no illusion cloud your sight, no lie obscure the truth of his hand. Every good gift, every perfect boon descends from above, from the Father of lights unchanging, his radiance free of shadow's turn. By his will he birthed us through the word of truth, a first fruits of his creation, set apart to bear his image, alive in his eternal purpose. Know this, my beloved brothers, let each be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger, guarding the heart's response with measured care. For human wrath does not forge God's righteousness. Its fire consumes justice, leaving ashes where truth should stand. So cast off all filth, every trace of evil's excess. Receive with meekness the implanted word, its power to save your souls rooted deep within. Be doers of the word, not hearers only, deceiving yourselves with hollow echoes, your faith a mirror unheeded. For one who hears yet does not act is like a man gazing at his face in a glass. He sees himself, then turns away, forgetting his own form, the truth of his reflection lost. But he who peers into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and abides it, not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of its work, will be blessed in his deed, his life a testament to freedom's call. If anyone thinks himself devout, yet bridles not his tongue, deceiving his heart, his piety is vain, a shadow without substance. That one kind of strikes me a little, personally. I mean, sure, it strikes most people. Because you have control over your tongue. There's a lot of things you don't have control over in your life. But your tongue, the things that come out of your mouth, that's what defiles a man. Pure devotion, undefiled before our God and Father, is this: to visit orphans and widows in their distress, to keep oneself unstained from the world's corruption, a life woven holy by his grace. That's curious that Grok in the King James, this is pure religion, right? We had this little argument in the Discord about using the word religion to describe our faith, because really religion is like the doings and the traditions and the trappings, right? But faith in Christ isn't about any of that stuff. So it's curious that Grok doesn't use the word religion here. It's devotion. I'll just let that settle, and you guys. Master Black, have you guys ever debated the aggressive part of Jesus, like when he makes a whip and attacks merchants, or when he wants to kill people who don't accept him as king, or that's too much? Wait, when does he want to kill people for not accepting him as king? Oh, you mean like in Revelation? I don't have to debate it. I love it when Jesus does that stuff. I mean, when he brings out the whip, I mean, yeah, I don't pretend that doesn't exist. We don't believe in the hippie Jesus here. We believe in the biblical Jesus here. So, yeah. Bro, I appreciate, but no, well, I already said it. We don't. Yeah, Jesus straight up broke in and freaking and tore up a bunch of people and whipped them because they were making a mockery of the temple. This is the house of God, not you made it a den of thieves, and so you whipped out all the thieves. 1927. I mean, just quote it. It's something to debate when it comes to worshiping him now. Why? There's such a thing as righteous anger and righteous violence, right? There's But as for these enemies of mine who did not want me to reign over them, bring them here and slaughter them before me. Luke 19. All right, now I have to look it up. Actually, let me do that in James. Luke chapter 19. You do realize this is a parable, right? You realize that's a parable. He makes parables on purpose. I know, but he's talking about him. Okay. All right. Hey, why don't you join the Discord? Maybe we can discuss it there if I have time later today, but I am overtime and I have much to do before I have a Whatnot stream in an hour and a half. So, or come on back tomorrow and let's get into it at the beginning of the show because I'm overtime. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks to the new people for popping in. I enjoy the discourse and the debate, and no, we don't shy away from anything that the Bible says here. So thanks everybody for being here. God bless you all. We'll see you all on the next exciting episode of Cross Examination.